Today we're going to test drive a Hyundai Palisade with snow tires in the snow. My name is Hank Becker.
And my name is Spencer, but you can call me Mr. Spencer.
Hi folks, thanks for joining us today. We're really excited, although this is not what we had planned for today because a couple days ago it was 65 degrees and sunny here in Minnesota, and what is it now, Spencer?
28 degrees and snowy.
Snowy and cold, that's right. And we got about 8 or 9 inches of fresh snow overnight last night. The good news is we have my wife's Hyundai Palisade here outfitted with Bridgestone Blizzak DM-V2 winter tires, and we're going to go do a snow driving test and see how the Hyundai Palisade does in the snow with proper winter tires. But first, let's take a look at the tires that came on the car.
These are the original tires that the car had before we put in snow tires.
That's a Bridgestone Dueler HT Sport, which is a compromise of a tire if ever I saw one. It gets decent marks for fuel economy, and from there it slides down. It's okay in the dry pavement, it's less okay in the rain, and I really wouldn't want to drive around in any sort of serious snow on this tire. Which brings us to the Bridgestone Blizzak, possibly the king of winter tires. The DM-V2 has an exceptional type of rubber which stays soft when it's cold outside. It's chunky, it has extra space between the chunks and extra siping to move the water out of the way when the conditions get slushy. I haven't personally driven this car with this tire yet. It'll be my first time driving the Palisade in the snow, but I can attest in general to the confidence that you get from a winter tire. So what do you say, Spencer? Why don't we hop in the car and test out the Palisade in the snow?
Okay, I love cars and their tires look so cool.
Here we go, folks. In the Hyundai Palisade with the snow tires. Not only is this my first time driving the car in the snow, but it's basically my first time driving the car ever since my wife got it, because she works every day and she drives it every day. So other than that initial test drive when we got it about 12 months ago, I haven't really experienced this car yet. Oh, the roads are icy where they've been plowed. Looks like we had a little bit of melt and freeze. So we'll get a chance to test out the ice traction as well as the snow traction.
Woohoo!
My initial impression getting into the car is that I feel very small. I'm 6 feet tall with no shoes on, and I have trouble seeing over the hood of the car with the seat in its highest position. It is not the most commanding seating position, which I hadn't really noticed before, but now that I'm driving in the snow and I want every advantage I can get in terms of visibility, I find that the bulbous nature of the hood looming out in front of me is a bit cumbersome. Now I can hear the slush flying up and hitting the bottom of the car, but I'm getting perfect traction. I don't feel like I'm driving in the snow at all.
Cool. That means the tires are working out pretty well.
Here's the curvy part, and we're going to take it a little faster than I usually would in the snow just to see how it feels. Oop, there's a little bit of slide if you lean into it. So if you really push the car, it will lose traction, but if you want to have traction, you can keep your traction pretty well. We're going to head down the hill now, and I am going to use the paddle shifters to put the car in low gear and try a little engine braking. My experience with a lot of Hyundai and Kia products is that it won't let you hold low gear and do a proper engine braking scenario. It just sort of increases speed, pushes against the gear. But I'm in first right now. I have my foot off the gas, off the brake, and the car is crawling down this very steep hill at a consistent 13 miles per hour. In fact, it actually just grabbed the gear a little bit and slowed down to 12 when we got on the steep part here. That's impressive. If it were very icy, I'd be able to have complete control in the snow. And now this pickup truck's gonna come up behind me and be very angry that I'm going so slowly, so let's hit it a little bit. That's nice. I feel like I own the road and I'm fully in control of the car. Now in second gear without foot on the gas, I'm holding a consistent 24 miles an hour and levels out down to about 20 on the flat part here. So that's really nice. I'm impressed by the transmission in this vehicle, letting me control the gears myself and do some engine braking on the hill. It's nice when you're driving in snow and ice to be able to slow the car without actually tapping your foot on the brake. And now we'll head out on the highway here, where the speed limit on this country road is 65 miles an hour. We'll see how that feels. It's a little icy. There's some places with a little bit of snow buildup, but mostly it's been plowed, and I feel like I'm driving a train on tracks. This is great. How do you feel back there, Mr. Spencer?
Oh, I feel pretty good. I might be getting a little bit car sick, and it's pretty bouncy back here.
Yeah, the snow tires with their extra chunky tread pattern, when you're driving on pavement like this and there's no snow, it gets bouncy. I can see why you might feel like you'd be a little car sick. And to the parents out there who are thinking about putting a set of snow tires on their SUV, you should definitely keep that in mind and think about whether you have another car that you're going to drive when it's not snowy, and whether you get enough snow on a regular basis to be worth putting the snow tires on and living with them for 4 or 5 months, or whether maybe you'd be better off just staying home those few times it snows a whole lot and enjoy a smoother ride the rest of the winter. We're going to head out on this unpaved road, which has been plowed at some point recently, but not this morning.
Oh my god.
And now we're driving on snow on dirt. And actually the ride smooths out a bit because without the pavement you get a little bit more of a space for the tires to grab into. And I'm feeling like I could go as fast as I wanted, even though I'm driving on an unpaved road and it snowed 9 inches last night. Well, when you rail on the gas pedal in the snow on the dirt, you do get some wheel spin. But as soon as it grips and the computer figures out what to do, you're taken off. This car is not afraid to drive in the snow once the computer figures out exactly what the situation is. We're going to head back into these unpaved streets down here in farm country and slosh around on slush and ice. Alright, so now we're in a place where there's a lot of deep potholes and ruts in a gravel road, and I can really feel the car moving around. When it hits the snowy parts, it starts to feel like it wants to slide, and then the tires grab onto the snow and the traction control does its thing, and we're just going forwards.
What's that sound?
That's the sound of the snow and dirt hitting the bottom of the car. Yeah, the snow tires tend to have a little bit more kick-up than the regular tires. This is an interesting drive for the snow tires because we're flipping back and forth between dirt and snow and ice and mud and loose gravel and just about every type of road surface you could imagine other than dry pavement. And the tires are doing very well. I feel like I have complete control of the car, and I'm not a person who likes to drive in the snow. I typically try to avoid it when I can, especially with the kids in the car. And so this test really is about how confident we feel driving this vehicle with these tires with kids in the car. And I gotta say, I feel like I would do this every day. If this was the ride to school and this was how much snow we got every day, I could do it. And it's not stressful. And I've done drives like this in cars like this without snow tires, and it's a completely different situation. It's very stressful. You're white-knuckling the steering wheel the whole time, worried about what's going to happen next. Are you going to make it home? Are you going to end up in a ditch? And here I'm just driving around casually chatting with my friends on YouTube while I slog this car through 9 inch snow drifts and 3 to 4 inch deep ruts and potholes, some of which are filled with water, some of which are filled with slush, some of which are just mud holes that start the car in a slide. But as soon as that happens, I feel the tires grabbing in and I feel the traction control taking over, and it's just, even at most, just the slightest inkling of slip, you really never actually get to feel the car move side to side or lose control of itself at all.
So these tires are all pretty good.
Yeah, these tires are great. I would go anywhere in the snow with these tires. If you had a vehicle that was equipped for off-roading and you wanted to do a little bit of snow driving, I would think a set of snow tires like this would probably be a better choice in the winter on the snow than a mud tire or a mud and snow tire with that type of compromise, because when it's cold like this, the snow where it's almost frozen is acting basically like slush and snow. So if I were going to go off-roading right now in a Jeep or in something like a Ford Ranger with the FX4 package, I would feel very confident and comfortable using a set of these Bridgestone Blizzak DM-V2s. I'm going 45 miles an hour on dirt roads covered with snow, and I feel like I'm just out cruising. There goes the mailman in his Honda Element, which I suppose he'll enjoy for a couple more years until the new Oshkosh vehicles come out.
Oh boy.
Okay, if there's any fresh snow left around here, it's going to be up on this unpaved road here, which heads down to the river. So we'll either have fun slogging in the snow or I'll end up stuck in the river. Oh, this is good. I feel great driving on snow like this. This is the turnaround, which is not plowed. So we are going to have to go through a few inches of snow to get this car turned around.
I could hear the car revving up.
Alright, well, here we go. That was awesome. No resistance whatsoever. Well, this car with these snow tires doesn't even recognize that there's snow on the ground. We just drove through 10 inches or 12 inches of piled up snow from the plow, and the car didn't even notice that it was there. On the one hand, I'm really excited and pleased with the car for being so comfortable and reliable driving in the snow. But on the other hand, I'm a little disappointed that there was no drama today. We didn't get stuck, we didn't slip or slide or anything. We were just out driving around like people in a car, and it's basically irrelevant that there's 8 or 9 inches of snow on the ground with 10 to 12 inch snow drifts that we've had to drive through.
Yeah.
The braking is strong and tight. It's grippy. Well, this car with these tires is so grippy that I feel like we should go find more deeper snow to drive through, because the 9 inches of snow that fell on the ground and the big snow drifts that we just drove through were nothing to this car. Well, there you have it, folks. If I had to drive a Hyundai Palisade with snow tires back and forth to work or school every day, I'd feel confident and safe while I was doing it. If you're thinking about buying an SUV or a set of snow tires and you have any questions about our experience, post your question in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching the Family Car Show.